Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm here to review, this anime series before season 2 officially comes out, and that is Arifureta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. Well, I watched this anime for the past 2 days, and I'm ready for season 2, which I will be talking about on the channel. Yes, I will be talking season 2 on the channel. So obviously the number one most important thing is, what is Arifureta and what's its premise, what's the story, yada yada yada. Should it be something you should watch before season 2 comes out next month, or in January, and stuff like that. Um, well, I will say this. I think Arifureta is a solid show. I have seen some criticism. Like, I heard some people said they didn't like the CGI from comments and stuff like that. Some people said the story is not interesting, if anything. And yeah, but I got a kick out of watching it, and I personally enjoyed it with the issues obviously that are there in the show. I came out watching all the 13 episodes of the first season in very much enjoyment, and I enjoyed watching the show. I got a lot of laughs. I laughed a lot. I'm kind of easy to get laugh. I'm kind of easy to laugh at probably any types of comedy and stuff like that. And this show does have a lot of comedy. When you watch the show, it's up to you how you feel in terms of the comedy. If some jokes hit, some jokes don't. Almost, I laughed at almost everything in the show and everything. But yeah. Anyways, let's get into the premise now. Again, like I said, I'm going to spoil the show, the first season. Like, just make some main plot point mentions and everything. So listen, if you have not seen Arifureta, I will say this before you check out this video and you want to continue further in this video. I request you at least give it a chance and check it out. Give it 3-4 episodes or so, and if you're not into it, well, then you can drop it. If you are, well, then continue to watch, and stuff like that. I think 3 or 4 episodes should be enough if you want to decide if you want to get into it and everything. So yeah, but anyways, I'm going to spoilers now, so you are warned if you get spoiled for some story points of the first season. So obviously Arifureta is essentially an isekai based anime, basically, but it's kind of different from an isekai based anime because instead of incorporating just one main character, which we later find out is Hajime Nakagumo, as I'm looking up the character list, the character cast list. Essentially what happens is Nakagumo's entire class, including his teacher, they essentially get sent to this other world, a typical isekai setting world where it's like back in the Middle Ages, where it's like swords and stuff, like it's typical RPG type of looking game and stuff like that. And they're transported there, and they're there as heroes, and they have to help deal with the demons and stop these guys and everything. And the thing is, the first episode covers really the origin story of Nakagumo, and essentially we find out he and his group of classmates, he's kind of like, a kind of a little bit of a weakling, kind of, I wouldn't say nerdy kid, but he's kind of like the social outcast of the class where everybody kind of somewhat picks on him. Some people pick on him, and he's kind of the weakling in the class and everything. My goodness. And going on in this whole dungeon, they go to this labyrinth dungeon to go just get stronger and take out these monsters and everything. And the thing is, what happens, one of their characters in the class actually touches this like crystal that was very rare, but it ends up transporting them into the 65th floor of the labyrinth, and they end up in like essentially a trap. They do their best to hold each other's off, but Nakagumo kind of stays behind to hold off some people left to save some of his other classmates' lives. And as he's running back, there's these beam attacks being attacked at obviously the boss of this floor. But what happens is we see somebody now. We later find out it was actually one of his opposing classmates that actually hit him with one of the beams attack, like literally directly targeted him. He falls down a few floors deeper and he ends up being all alone and everything on his own. He has this one girl, he has this one love interest character that's in his harem, which I'll get into in a bit, which her name is Kyori. Um, and she goes on to say, like, I'll be the one to protect you always. And she has a thing for him and everything. We later find out that eventually we knew she had a thing for him, but it's kind of already known from the first episode. She clearly has feelings for him, because when he fell down, she was visibly upset and visibly worried about him. But essentially what happens, he goes down to this floor, he gets attacked by some other monsters, he actually loses his arm, and because of it, he ends up making a pretty smart way to kind of trick one of the monsters and kills them. He ends up finding a place where there's some water, and then and also in order to also survive, well, you're gonna do a humanly instinct thing, and that's kill whatever's in your way. And he ends up killing it, and then he obviously ends up eating it to give him food and stuff like that. And essentially by eating this monster in this dungeon, he has a completely new look and an new design. He has his hair goes from like black, I think he had brown hair, and it goes to, well, white hair, and he's got like monster DNA within him and everything. And we go through the whole thing, little mini adventure in the dungeon. Now, apparently in the light novel, it's probably more in depth with how that stuff is, going on. So it kind of reminds me of like a little bit of SAO. It has elements of SAO, and if you've seen this anime, it has a little bit of elements of SAO as well as How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. But I morely relate this show to the latter of one of the two animes I just requested. This show literally is damn near similar to How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, just with the exception is How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more out there and outgoing and everything. Here, it really does have a more darker tone here. So it's kind of like How Not to Summon the Demon Lord with a darker tone and a darker main protagonist. Not like how in How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, Diablo is a very easily flustered, outgoing, funny character. Here, Nakagumo is more of a dark, brooding type of character that kind of is the character that's just like, you're my enemy, and if you're either my enemy or you're my ally, and if you're my enemy, you're gonna die, no F's given, and I'm going to kill you, and stuff like that. So that's the whole thing there. Now, he ends up going a little more few floors down into this one little area. He sees this girl, this blonde-haired girl, trapped in this little thing, and he's like, man, there's nothing to worry about. He leaves, but this blonde-haired girl's like, hey, can you please let me out? He lets her out. We later find out her name. She doesn't have a name because she doesn't remember it. We also find out she's a vampire, and she's 300 years old, and she's very hard to kill because she has like automatically like she can regenerate her injuries and stuff like that. She can heal herself, and she was trapped there for 300 years. Nakagumo gives her the name Yui, and these two characters essentially, well, become lovers and fall in love, even though I will say in the animes, obviously in an anime you can't cover everything like a light novel would. So more than likely, if you're watching the anime version, you're not going to believe the love between Nakagumo and Yui, because it's like, well, it's kind of too quick and it's kind of too forced and everything, and it feels forced and everything, especially in that one battle when they're going up against the Hydra, when they just for some reason just started kissing each other and stuff like that. So I can definitely see and understand somebody's point of saying, we've only knew this Yui character for probably about like 2 or 3 episodes at that point in this series, and she's in love with him. I would envision the light novel goes more in depth with how much time they spend together, which obviously if you're spending time alone, especially with the opposite sex, and you're looking out for each other, and especially with the fact that Nakagumo says, I'm going to always be here for you, I'm not going to leave you and abandon you. Well, of course, some sparks would brew and you would probably end up falling in love with somebody and stuff like that. And that's what happened. They defeat the Hydra and everything. They get to this one area, um, where I forgot, but there's like the specific type of race that are kind of just being misguided or misjudged for what's going on. And essentially we find out that, well, the humans fight, and then there's the demons fight, and then you got the monsters in the fight. But essentially up top, the gods are kind of controlling this whole effort. And we later kind of find out that the gods truly are kind of like the bad guys in this entire series. They're like, I guess, the main overarching bad guy of the gods are forcing the humans, the demons, and the monsters to all fight each other and stuff like that. And they're just watching it off as their own pleasure and everything. And we later have the whole thing with Nakagumo saying, well, his whole motivation and his whole plot in this story is he's going to try to get back to the human world, really his own world, taking along Yui, and then the cast of characters that join his party are his harem party, but mostly his party, essentially. And his job is he wants to take them all back so they can live peacefully and live happily ever after, and stuff like that. And that's kind of just the premise of the show, really. And you just have him going across the episodes, meeting these colorful cast of characters, well, really these girl characters of them joining his party and everything and stuff like that. I'll go through all of them. Yui is, well, she's, like I said, a vampire, and she kind of is just like kind of a quiet, secluded girl that keeps to herself, really. And she doesn't really like any of the other girls in the series kind of being all over Nakagumo, like that, and stuff like that. She clearly loves him. You can clearly tell she has love for him, but I will admit the anime doesn't really express that, to be honest. Like, they don't really express the love between Nakagumo and Yui that well. Like, yeah, you can see it, but it's not really truly there. So it's like you kind of feel like it's forced. If anything, the relationship between Nakagumo and Kyori is a lot better, in my opinion, because I actually like it makes a lot more sense from that aspect than the relationship. But like I said, I haven't read the light novel, so maybe I would feel different if I read the light novels and stuff like that. But yeah, Yui also kind of gives me the personality of Rem from, like I said, this show is obviously comparable to How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. She gives me that Rem personality, obviously, just from the way they're both designed. They're two characters, that are kind of essentially Yuri characters, or not Yuri characters, little lolly characters, that, well, their bodies really aren't like as big and boisterous as, say, other girls like a Shira or a Shaya, and stuff like that. But I do like her personality. It's very entertaining, very funny. In some cases, she's very like sarcastic. Like, she has that sarcastic type of personality and stuff like that. So yeah, Yui, in terms of, characters, she's not one of my favorite girls in the group, but I do like her. If anything, she reminds me, if you've seen Combatants to be Dispatched, the other blonde-haired girl, that's voiced by Monica Rial in the dub. Here in the dub, she's voiced by Tia Ballard, which I thought Monica Rial would actually have taken this voice, but nope. She reminds me of that character, from the other blonde-haired character from Combatants to be Dispatched, alongside Agent 9. That's kind of the vibe she gives me. The next girl that ends up getting introduced is Shaya, and she's essentially, well, a bunny girl. And you can very tell from the start she is a very over-sexualized bunny girl. She obviously, in comparisons to How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, she's essentially the Shira of the series, where she clearly has feelings for the our main character Nakagumo and everything, and she's using her body to do it and everything in a similar way, and stuff like that. She has a very funny, outgoing personality. I will say that she made me laugh most of the freaking time. Other than Tio, she made me laugh probably the most. I did like her story, how she was introduced. Her race were essentially kicked out of the group because, well, she had her own issues going on there, and she managed to teach the rabbit race, or Nakagumo managed to teach the rabbit race how to be combatants and defend themselves and everything. And it's like when he's done with them, they're all like they're like, we're ready to join your ranks, master, and everything. And they're all buff and everything. Because we see these rabbits, they're kind of like carefree, loving characters and everything. But eventually after Nakagumo kind of takes them under like her like Shaya's group under his wing, they end up, by the time he leaves, they're like willing to kill anything and stuff like that. Because Nakagumo lives by the motto of it's either in this world, it's either kill or be killed, and stuff like that. Also, too, his personality severely changes. Like it's a complete 180 of a change, compared to when we first see him in the series. That's why, like I said, he's more of a brooding, dark character that kind of doesn't really show a lot of sympathy. Although, when he comes across his former classmates later in the story, we do see that even though he talks in a non-sympathetic way, he ends up being pretty dang sympathetic towards his classmates and everything. But he's just kind of a little bit harsh about it and everything. But again, like I said, I don't really blame him because he was betrayed by somebody, and that's kind of the whole thing. He can relate to Yui because Yui later says, like, I was betrayed as well. Shaya was betrayed essentially. Tio was betrayed in a way or manipulated in a way. His quote unquote daughter, Miyu, was kind of manipulated, kind of in a way used and stuff like that. So yeah, but I definitely do like Shaya. I do like her hammer attack. It's very freaking funny. And these characters have somewhat different attacks. Yui and Tio, they kind of use like, well, magic mostly. But the thing about Tio, as I'm getting into Tio, she can also transform into a dragon. Her introduction was hilarious because essentially we have Nakagumo stick this gigantic sword up her, what, and ever after he pulled it out, let's just say she became a masochist in terms of the way Nakagumo kind of treats her, and essentially she's a pervert. I find it hilarious because she's doing whatever she wants, and she just likes Nakagumo to say like harsh and rough things around her, and she just automatically just gets turned on for no apparent reason. And I'm like, this character is so weird and such a pervert, but it's like it's so hilarious and so funny at the same time, and everything. So that whole thing was funny. Miyu is, well, Nakagumo's quote unquote daughter character because at first she calls him big brother, then she ends up calling him papa, because, well, he found her and everything. And I just found it hilarious how after a while, like after she started, like the episode after she said, I want to be known, I want you to be my papa and everything. Now it's like after that episode, he acknowledges her being his daughter and everything, and he's like being like, oh, it's okay, do you want something, princess? Oh, you want some food, princess? Oh, I'll get you it, honey. Which I freaking cracked out loud because you have one of the girls like, oh, so now you finally admit she's your daughter now or something like that. Great. I thought you wanted her to be called, and then you wanted her to call you her big brother. And I think it was Tia's like, well, it doesn't matter. I guess it seems like he's finally admitted that, well, that's his daughter and everything. Which I found it funny because in the last episode of season 1, Kyori hears Miyu say, Papa, she gets all pissed off. And, at the end of the episode, she's like, so who's the wife of your kid? And stuff like that. So that was hilarious at all. And Kyori, who's the last member that joins this party at the end of season 1, she's obviously your carefree, loving girl that, if anything, she kind of reminds me of the priest girl from season 2 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. I don't know who Teal really reminds me of that series. If anything, she reminds me of that one girl character that was trying to get all over Diablo in season 2. I've forgot those names, but Kyora reminds me of the priest girl from Not to Summon a Demon Lord season 2. The only difference is this time the priest girl is gonna join the party because the girl in that show, she was only in Diablo's party for a bit, and then she left to stay in the church and everything. But here, no, Kyori joins them at the end of the season, which honestly I liked it. Again, I also like the trope where she ended up freaking admitting to her feelings that she's always loved Nakagumo and everything and stuff like that. So it makes sense. It's understandable. And I'm like, yeah, I figured she was gonna, when they run into each other, she was gonna join his party, his brigade, and everything. And like I said, it's essentially a harem show. So this show literally is a comparison to and How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, just in a much darker tone and everything. So yeah. But I'm trying to find the one girl with the sword who was Kyori's friend. Looking through the character list right now. Jeez Louise, where is she? Shizuku. This is my thoughts because at the end of the episode, they hinted the one dude hinted at the fact like you're not gonna go with them, are you? And Shizuku's like, well, you never know. I might. Because and I just have a sneaking suspicion we're gonna see his classmates again in season 2 at some point, and I think at some point Shizuku's going to join his party. I just feel like it's gonna come, it's gonna happen. I feel like Shizuku's going to join our boy's party, and she's gonna fall for him too because, well, one, they had a moment at the last episode where he made her keep the sword he made and everything. They looked at each other like, oh, something about to happen. I'm like, hey, Shizuku can join as well. She's just as good looking as Kyori, so you might as well just join them and everything. They would add a swordswoman to their party, so I have a sneaking suspicion Shizuku is going to join the party eventually. So that's the whole thing there. In terms of other story points, probably one of my favorite story points was really when he started to be reunited with his other classmates near the tail end of the season, especially the part about his teacher and everything, which his teacher was Ayako. Yes, I don't know how people felt about this, but yes, they ended up making Nakagumo and his teacher actually freaking kiss. Although it was a way to save her life because she ended up getting like poisoned. It was still mouth to mouth type of resuscitation, and it's like, oh boy, now he's kissing his own teacher. 17-year-old boy is kissing his own teacher that's probably in her late or early, maybe mid, either 20s or 30s. So yeah, I don't know how old their teacher is, but well, I was like, whoa. For some reason, they had a lot of chemistry, and the teacher Ayako clearly had something for our boy Nakagumo. But maybe she joins the harem too. Good God, the teacher character joins the harem. I feel like that'll make a lot of people upset when it comes to these harem shows. But I did like that whole arc with the fact that the teacher truly wanted to get down to the bottom and understand why Nakagumo changed and why he acts a different personality and everything and stuff like that. And I like the whole trust. I did like the whole trust of the whole thing is that even though Nakagumo gave off the persona or the personality that he's kind of a dick character and he doesn't really give a crap about anybody, whether that's his classmate or some random person, he kind of just does things to just do his own things. Yes, he's doing that, but mostly to his classmates, he still shows he has that gene within him that he still cares about his classmates, even though he tells like in the last episode, one of the classmates was upset that he killed the one demon girl, especially the fact that he had a family, and he's like, listen, I don't care. It's either kill or be killed in this world, and if you're gonna get in my way and you're gonna have the problem about it, then I'll just kill you. But I do like the whole thing how he does genuinely care about his former classmates, even though he says, I put that in the past. We're not classmates anymore, and I don't see you as my friends anymore. I'm just doing my own thing so I can get home on my own to watch. But I do genuinely like how, when the teacher said, You know, when they found out that there was going to be a freaking gigantic army coming, the teacher in a way convinced him to do this, and he was like, "Well, you are my teacher, so I have to say yes to you," and everything. Even though he did look different, he does. Even though the way he looks doesn't look like he's a 17-year-old kid. He looks more like he's like a dang near 20-year-old kid, but it is what it is. Obviously, the character changed. I do like his outfit, and I also do like his weapon choices. Like I said, the weapon choices he has is essentially in a mod. He's essentially like fighting in medieval times. But the thing is, his weapons are like legit modern weapons today, like freaking guns, rocket launchers, sniper rifles, crazy things. And I'm like, holy crap, this man, I'm like, honestly, this guy is dope. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. Nakagumo's dope because you have this one scene, especially in the last episode where he's taking on the demon ladies army or grouping to save his friends, Kyori and the others in the dungeon. He's killing everybody. He's just like shooting them. He's like boom, 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 and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, he's like that. I think it's a unique type of weapon to give a character, especially in an isekai setting. Like I've seen a bunch of isekais, and it's very rare. I see like an isekai that has like a main character using like modernized weapons, and it's actually doing like legit damage against monsters and everything, and stuff like that. So, yeah, but I like that whole storyline, how he put his trust, how he believed his teacher and wanted to help his teacher out genuinely. But then you find out that in this whole thing, because his whole mission was to retrieve this one person for this guild master, and then you find out that the main person who sent this force of army is actually one of his classmates and everything. Now this one person almost kills the teacher. We see Shaya take the hit, and it also hits the one classmate who was evil, but the classmate was kind of like, please save me. But we see Nakagumo shoot him dead because he don't want to blame it on he didn't want the teacher to feel any guilt if he didn't do anything. And the teacher and the student was already like kind of already dead anyways, like even he couldn't be saved. And I like that whole thing because it was a way he was a genuine good person, because he was like, I don't want my teacher to feel bad and put it on her that she felt like she was the reason why her student died. So I took the blame for it, and I'm the one that killed him, and stuff like that. Which is very interesting, the fact that we find out from that one student that he was kind of seduced by the demons to work for them, and well, he ended up getting killed. And we see a masked figure who we see Nakagumo hit, but he kind of gets away with the wound and everything. So yeah, but that was the kind of the whole thing there. We had Tio join the party, Miu joined the party because essentially she's like a little mermaid girl and everything. And the thing is, she was kind of into this trafficking type of thing, this underground trafficking event. They, at first Nakagumo took her back to like the authorities and said stay here, even though she wanted to stay with him. He lives, but then eventually goes on a whole rampage against the underworld in this world and saves her, and then he takes her in and she joins the party. She hasn't really done anything. She's kind of just there, but she's a nice, lovable, funny, kid character that I enjoy and everything. And then obviously the last story arc is the whole standpoint about the demon lady attacking his former friend's party when they went deeper into the labyrinth. And everything you kind of get, and then that's when you get revealed that, well, you thought it was the one commander guy who actually turned on him, but we find out later that it was actually this red-haired kid from their class that actually hit Nakagumo and forced him down. Now we don't know why he did that, but we did get a flashback, like he used to pick on him back when they were in school and everything. So I don't know if he did that for some specific reason, or if he did that maybe because he's a traitor working for obviously the demons and everything. But he did tell the teacher, listen, you might want to tell the other group that there's a traitor amongst us and they need to watch their back. So I think this character is not done yet. I think he's going to turn his back on somebody, and it's going to lead to something where he eventually betrays his other classmates. We already had one classmate do this, and he's going to be the next one that's going to eventually turn. And maybe that's when we get the arc when maybe Shizuku ends up joining the party she ends up finding out that the dude betrays them, and he can say like, I was the one that made Nakagumo who he is today and everything and stuff like that. And that's when Shizuku could be like, why would you do that, and why'd you betray everyone? And that's why I feel like Nakagumo will eventually come and save her, and she'll join the party and everything. But we did see that character after seeing the thing that Nakagumo does and the standards he lives by. He is terrified. So I wonder if he's going to go after him. I think he's going to try to do something sneaky to try to kill him. But I think Nakagumo, he's a pretty smart enough character to where he's not going to try to get fooled out by it and everything. But I think that's the interesting plot line going on there, as well as the fact that even Nakagumo says, I don't care if you're even a freaking god, I'm going to kill you. So if I need to get back home and everything. And the interesting part is he wants to get back home with the people in his party. So that's insane to believe and everything. But I do like this. Like I said, it ends up with Kyori joining the party at the end of the episode. I did like that. I did like the fact that she expressed the whole fact, and it really did feel heartfelt, the fact that she wanted to join his brigade and everything, and the reasoning why. When I do like the fact that she admitted that she was in love with him. And it's funny because Yui's like, I'll show you how much my love is. And now you have kind of a beef between Yui and Kyori, the fact that they somewhat, well, they both love Nakagumo, and stuff like that, which it's funny. Like, in terms of love interest, like, they're the two top candidates. Then it's Shaya. Tia is just there for, well, just to be the masochistic type of freaking character, and stuff like that. So, yeah. But other than that, that's kind of it of my thoughts on Arifureta. Honestly, I enjoyed this. In terms of the CGI, I thought the animation in some cases were good, but the CGI, I will admit, it wasn't the best. But it wasn't something where I'm like, oh god. It wasn't the best. It could be a lot better, but hey, I honestly liked the show. Now, I think I don't know the main thoughts of how people truly feel about this show. So if you do know about that, please leave that in the comment section. But from what I've seen from some comments, especially off the second trailer I watched, some people are like, they don't like it, and some people are in the middle of if they like it or they don't like it. And there's some people that say, well, even though it has its issues and its flaws, I genuinely still enjoyed this show and everything. So yeah, and I'm kind of in the boat where I can see that there's issues with the show, but I genuinely enjoy this, and I had a blast watching this, and I had a kick and laugh out of funny. The funniest line I freaking died at was when Yui and Shaya and Kagumo get to this one inn after their dungeon experience, because that's what they're also doing to help find themselves get away back home for Nakagumo. He has to go through all these different labyrinth dungeons and everything. So yeah, and after they get back, they get to this inn, and essentially they're talking about sharing a whole room together, and Yui's like, no, Shaya, you're gonna get your own room. Me and Nakagumo are saving, are getting a room for ourselves. And Shaya's like, why do you need a room for yourselves? Why not all share together? And Yui's like, you're just gonna be annoying. Essentially hinting at the fact that Yui wants to do something to Nakagumo, and essentially Shaya's like, oh please, I should be the one that has to share the room with Nakagumo, and you're gonna be the one with your own room, and I'm gonna be the person that's gonna let him take my virginity. And everybody, and she says this out loud. The freaking the freaking attendant who's checking them into their rooms, she's like, what? And then you just have everybody else in this dinner room area say this, hear that. They're all looking at this girl say he wants this guy to take her virginity. And then you just have it to where Nakagumo's like, I'm gonna kill you. And he pulls out his gun. And that part killed me. That part legit killed me. I was laughing out loud to a point. I had to play it over and over and over again. But yes, overall, I enjoyed this show. Like, yes, it has its flaws, it has its issues, and I can understand where people are coming from. But honestly, just like how not to summon a demon lord, yes, the harem route. I know harem animes are not a lot of people's fan favorites, because there's a lot of fan service, and it's just all these girl characters hitting on the main character and stuff like that. But I genuinely enjoyed this anime. Like I said, I like all the characters. It's very funny, and I'm very invested in this story to the point it's like, I hope this series goes on long enough in terms of even anime content, or maybe we get to the point that he gets home. Now, I don't know the light novels are finished. Again, put that in the comment section if they are finished and done. The story is finished and done. But definitely, I enjoyed the show, and I got a kick and blast out of watching it. But yeah, that's kind of all I got to say for Arifureta. Again, like I said, I'm going to be reviewing season 2 on a weekly basis when it comes out, and everything, because hey, why not? And stuff like that. I do want to put more winter anime reviews on the channel, because my channel's kind of been nothing really to talk about other than my manga chapter reviews, and then ongoing animes like a One Piece or a Dragon Quest. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on Arifureta. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you in the middle about it? Also, are you looking forward to season 2? I'm coming out next month or in January, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more anime content, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get my thoughts on Arifureta season 2 when I do the episode reviews when it finally returns. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your day or night watching this video, and hopefully, you guys have a great New Year's. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. See you guys later. Peace.